You stare blankly at your phone screen. 3 little gray dots appear, dancing, pulsing, and then they suddenly disappear. Minutes pass, no reply. Your heart rate spikes, a sudden chill hits your chest, and instantly your mind starts a full-scale, high-alert criminal investigation. Did I say something wrong? Was my last text too needy? Why is it taking them this long to type a simple sentence? But here is where almost everyone gets it wrong. You honestly believe you're just waiting for a reply, but in reality, you are walking straight into a meticulously designed psychological trap. Why does a tiny, glowing rectangle with a few words on it have the absolute power to hijack our nervous system and destroy our inner peace? Imagine this scenario: you send a completely normal, friendly, everyday text to a friend, a coworker, or someone you're romantically interested in. An hour goes by, total silence. Imagine your brain walking into a crime scene, grabbing that exact text message off the screen and placing it under an intense magnifying glass. You start treating every single detail as crucial evidence. Punctuation marks become suspicious clues. Timestamps become countdown timers. That little scene receipt or those blinking typing dots are examined like footprints at a murder scene. Wait, did I use too many exclamation marks? Did I sound overly enthusiastic? Or wait, was I too cold because I didn't use an emoji? You don't just wait passively for the reply, you actively prosecute yourself for it. You begin mentally drafting 5 different backup texts, trying to figure out how you'll clean up the mess if they respond coldly. You become an anxious detective searching for clues in a crime scene that doesn't even exist. By the time they finally text back hours later, saying something totally mundane and boring like, "Hey, sorry, phone was on silent while I was driving," your nervous system has already run a full marathon of panic. You spent 2 hours suffering through an emotional crisis that lived entirely inside your own head. One reason text messages can create anxiety is asynchronous communication, the gap between sending a message and getting a response. Unlike face-to-face conversations where you instantly read micro-expressions, body language, and vocal tone, text messaging strips away many of the signals we normally rely on: tone, facial expressions, body language, and timing. And when our brains are suddenly starved of context and feedback, they don't stay neutral. They panic. They automatically fill in the blank spaces with our deepest, darkest fears and insecurities. But social psychology reveals something fascinating about how our brains misinterpret the world. Psychologists Thomas Gilovich and Kenneth Savitsky studied how we view ourselves in social settings, introducing us to a powerful concept called the illusion of transparency. Their experiments proved that when we feel anxious, insecure, or awkward, we radically overestimate how much other people analyze our behavior. When you send a text, your brain assumes the other person is sitting there with a magnifying glass, dissecting your punctuation and tone. But in reality, they glanced at their phone for 3 seconds while walking to their car, typed a rushed reply without a second thought, and threw their phone back into their pocket. They probably aren't analyzing your sentence structure the way you are. They are too busy drowning in the stress of their own lives. The strange, uncomfortable part is this: you aren't overanalyzing the text to actually find the truth. Your brain mistakes endless overthinking for a form of protection. It has quietly started preferring the familiar, toxic habit of anticipating rejection. You trick yourself into believing that if you expect the worst possible outcome, you won't get hurt when it actually happens. It's an exhausting trap of trying to solve a puzzle that was never even broken. So how do you finally take your power back from a glowing 6-inch piece of glass? You need 4 practical, hard-hitting tools to shut down the text anxiety loop once and for all. The 10-minute quarantine rule. The next time you feel that sudden panic rising or the urge to double text after a delayed reply, physically place your phone in a completely different room for 10 minutes. Give your attention a chance to move away from the screen and interrupt the anxiety loop. Catch the loop early. Labeling. The moment you catch yourself spiraling over a missing reply, stop and literally label it out loud. I am catastrophizing. Labeling helps create psychological distance and makes it much easier to shift from a blind emotional reaction to a deliberate logical response. Hanlon's razor for texting. Never attribute to malice, rejection, or anger what can easily and realistically be explained by distraction, laziness, or a busy schedule. A delayed reply often has far more to do with the other person's situation than with your worth. Shift from screen to physical reality. When text anxiety hits hard, your entire world shrinks down to a tiny glass screen. Break the physical trance. Stand up, walk to a window, touch something cold, talk to someone in the room, or drink a glass of water. Ground your senses firmly back into the real, physical world. Think about all the precious hours we waste staring blindly at a screen, waiting for validation from someone else's timeline, while our own life quietly slips past us. We allow a missing punctuation mark, a single unread notification, or a delayed reply to dictate our entire emotional state and ruin our day. Tonight, when your phone lights up in the dark room, or when you find yourself staring blankly at 3 blinking dots, remember, you don't have to give your inner peace away to an algorithm or a text box. Your worth was never measured by how fast someone else hits send, because in the end, always remember, you cannot control how quickly others reply, but you can control how quickly you abandon your own peace. Thank you for joining Complexity Lab Psychology. If this deep analysis gave you some clarity and peace of mind today, make sure to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next video.